So the big issue that right now is floating through the state of Michigan. Uh,
Yep. Talk about how we're
Yeah.
gonna manage our deer population in Michigan. People always say people love to hate on Michigan for our deer management population, how we're doing things, and now they're starting to throw out ideas for how they can improve upon it.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the gun zones is gonna be one thing, but the big one that everyone's talking about is the 1 buck rule as their solution to help get the ratios back. I mean, what are your thoughts on that right now? I mean, as a deer farmer in these areas, I know everyone's always about the buck to doe ratio. Is this, do you think, the right way of doing it? Is this enough? Is this going too far? They're just wasting their time.
It's oh boy, this is one gigantic topic.
Yes, it is.
and you might not be popular
It's
after this.
the problem that we've had is that Michigan, their way of managing the deer herd is still so archaic compared to a lot of the what I call high end states with managing deer herds. They're slowly catching up. Um, I'm not going to pick on them. They have not had the money to implement a lot of the computer programs and technology. Why they haven't, I'm not sure. It's kind of a negative snowball effect that if you're not going to do it right, we're not going to give you the money. Um, but at the same time, you can go to a 1 buck rule, which I agree with. But if that's all you do, it will not get the results that everyone is hoping for and looking for. There's a number of different tools that have to be put in place at one time.
Yeah.
Having three regions with guns, you can't manage this state properly with just those three general regions and have the deer herd flourish. Um,
Mm.
there, we also have the mentality and the history, the tradition of I want to see a lot of deer. Well,
Yeah.
we now know if you want to see a lot of deer, you don't have quality.
You're small
If
deer.
you have quality, you're not going to see a lot of deer. You go to Rob, you've gone to the other states and you've hunted. It's not that you see a lot of deer, but when you see deer, they're high
Right.
quality.
Yeah,
Right.
it's so funny.
Um,
Like driving out to the Iowa Deer Classic, me and Colt were driving out there, and we were trying to have a competition to see who could see the first deer. And it's just so weird because even like later in the evening, you don't see a ton of deer driving down the highway in Iowa. In Michigan,
right.
you would have seen hundreds of does out there. But it's just kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I just went up I just got hired to consult with a ranch up north, up by Onaway. And one of the guys that was there, he says, just come with me on a 5-minute drive. So I drive. He literally showed me one field, and they were covered in snow up there. There was over 200 deer in just one field.
Yeah.
And he goes, 98% of them are all does. Well, you'll never have a good buck quality herd with that. Um, the DNR is starting to understand that some of the deer farming industry or the deer farming industry has learned a lot of science about how to manage deer herds. They are different than goats and cows, but there's also similarities. Um, a lot of the other states are starting to take notice of that. They're starting to sit down and go, okay, how can we do this? Michigan is not quite there yet.
Yeah.
No.
There's a few people that are, but the majority of them still aren't.
Yeah.
You know, you're in an election year, which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
With the governor's position up for grabs.
Be sensitive.
Well, if John Jean gets in, I know you got Senator John Bumstead that wants to be the DNR director. He is quite knowledgeable of what changes need to be made to the deer herd. They're not going to be easy changes. They're not going to be popular.
Mhm.
It's going to be he's going to have to be very careful who he puts as the chair of the NRC commission. So those two work hand in hand, which they have not for years. And that's been a lot of the problem is the agency and the commission haven't gotten along.
Yeah.
It is more from the DNR side than it's been from the commission side. You guys know, I mean, high right up to here in politics on the deer farming side.
Yep.
And right now we've got a lot of stuff going on in Lansing. So this is all part of that package. If you're going to go to a $1 rule, you better go to a point system, like Pennsylvania did for 3 years. Allow that buck side to grow and mature. That's our biggest problem. We don't have a mature
Mhm.
deer herd in the state of Michigan, except for a lot of old does.
Does. Yep.
You know, we just got done doing a 10-year study. We use farms in Texas, Pennsylvania, Arkansas, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan. And what we did is we kept track of all of our breeding does, their ages, and what fawns they had, buck or does. And it was interesting that over a 10-year period, no matter where it was at, 3-year-old does, all does under 4, had 6% more buck fawns than does above 4.
Hmm.
So if that stands true, what a management tool.
Yeah.
Call
Right.
your older does, which means
Yep.
you slow the multiplication factor of the deer herd down, and you increase the number of bucks of choice. And because you reduce the doe population, the rut becomes shorter, which means the dominant bucks will breed more of those does, and not everybody breeding does.
Yeah.
So you
Mhm.
get the quality breeding the quality, and the younger bucks stay out of that process, and it allows them to grow up and mature and get the genetic potential that is built into their system. If you look at the record book, the majority of record book bucks and world records are 3.5-year-old deer. Handsome buck was only 3.5 years old. But you
Yeah.
think about
Wow.
where he come from.
Right.
He's not going to get into the fight at 2.5 with 4 and 5-year-old bucks. He's going to go, you guys go breed then. I'm going to eat. I'm going to lay around. And
Relax.
at three, I'm going to grow the genetic potential that I have within me. And hence you have the world record. And then at 3.5, they got to start getting in the game.
Yeah.
Now your antler growth or potential goes way down because the increase really goes down.
Right.
So there's more to it than just that one buck rule. And that's where they're missing it.